Hi, I'm Balli. I am the author of Inheritance, Sugar Bread, and most recently Erotic Stories for Punjabi Widows. I'd like to invite you to come to the Singapore Australia Night on the 22nd of June at Singlet Station. So I'll be reading from a short story. The story is about the migrant experience to Australia, which to me is very important and it's very much an integral part of the Australian life and the Australian experience. It's about a young man who comes to Australia from India and is working a shift job at a supermarket with very sort of unforgiving hours, and he's very concerned about his safety because he's heard about these bashings of Indian students that have happened. So it sort of takes place around that time when those violent incidents were hitting their peak and making waves in the media. So I moved to Australia in January of 2010. So a couple of months after most of those incidents were surfacing in the media, and so there was a lot of concern, I think, from friends and family of mine about going to Australia because of things that they'd heard about, sort of violent and racist incidents there. I personally didn't experience those things. Australia was very open and very welcoming to me, but I did see how if you stood out a little bit more, or if certain aspects of the culture weren't familiar to you, that you would be more vulnerable. The story sort of started to take shape when I thought a lot about those immigrants who, over generations have gone to new countries and sort of expected immediate success or expected immediate wealth, and then have had a shock of realizing that it's going to take perhaps a generation for them to build up to the kind of wealth and success that they want. But there's a lot of shame associated with admitting to friends and family back home that they've had to build their lives up from scratch. There are many different experiences of living in Australia, and sometimes we forget that because I think, especially sometimes when we're away from a place, what we become nostalgic for are the sort of the very I guess the very sort of stereotypical experiences of that place, and we forget that actually there's a diverse range of stories and narratives from a particular place. And so that was why the story was really important to me, because to me this was very much an Australian story, even though it was about a person who was from another country experiencing Australia for the first time.